So,
All right, let's roll camera 1, roll camera 2, roll camera 3, and action.
okay, I'm Johnny Chikuyo, and you can consider me today as the range master, the safety master, okay? It's very important that anytime you're using firearms, you're very conscious of what you're doing. You know, that old thing of, oh, I didn't know it was loaded, doesn't work after something has happened tragic sometimes. So there's actually many rules that can apply to handling and using firearms, but we've picked 4 of them we consider the most important, or some of the main ones. And those are 4 compartments of 4 components that everybody needs to know. Let me just say this, it's one thing to know the rules, right? But it's another thing to actually incorporate or to internalize using or putting these principles into action, okay? So I developed, we've helped train a lot of people over the years, and by no means are we experts, I wanna say that. We're students of the gun as we are students of the martial arts itself. So there's 4 rules, and I give my students 4 little ticks to help them remember these rules. Once I give you these 4 ticks, if I see you 6 months or 6 years from now, and I say, give me the 4 universal rules of shooting, and it's gonna look like this. And I want y'all to use your imaginary gun. Everybody go here. All right, this is your imaginary gun, you too. This is your imaginary gun. Rule number 1, treat all guns as if they're loaded. Let's say it together. Rule number 1, treat all guns as if they're loaded. One more time. Rule number 1, treat all guns as if they're loaded. Boom. Now, what does that mean? It just means that anytime I have a firearm, I can take the magazine out, I can take the rounds out of the cylinder, but I'm still gonna act and think that this gun is loaded. Because if I always treat it as if it's loaded, then it's a slim chance of me doing something that I or someone else could get hurt. So that's principle number 1. Treat the gun as if it's loaded. If I'm working with a weapon and I cleared it and I laid it down, I have to go in the other room, I come back, what do I have to do now? I have to pick it up and clear it again. If I have a weapon and I hand it to you, now I cleared it, but once I hand it to you, what do you have to do? Now you have to clear it. You can't say, well, I seen you. No. That's not good enough. We're going to treat every weapon as if it's loaded at all times. So now you would check and clear that gun, and now you can say, okay, this gun is safe, and I know it's cleared because I cleared it. Okay? Rule number 1. Now we're going to go to rule number 2. Everybody do this. Okay? Rule number 2 is be careful with the muzzle of your gun. Rule number 2, be careful with the muzzle of your gun. One more time. Rule number 2, be careful with the muzzle of your gun. Now, what does that mean? It means that the muzzle is where the round comes out or the bullet comes out. We don't want to muzzle anyone. We don't want to point this weapon at anything or anybody that we're not planning on destroying. Okay? People say, oh, I didn't know it was loaded. But you muzzled the guy, and your finger was on the trigger. And a terrible accident happened now. It could have been prevented had you remembered that I don't point this weapon at anybody or anything that I'm not planning on destroying. So that's rule number 2. Be careful with the muzzle of your gun. Always, okay? Now, rule number 3, everybody go here. Rule number 3 is keep your finger off the trigger till you're ready to shoot. All right? Here we're going to do it together. Rule number 3. Keep your finger off the trigger till you're ready to shoot. One more time. Rule number 3. Keep your finger off the trigger till you're ready to shoot. Now, what does that mean? It means that if I have a weapon, if I'm using a weapon, a lot of times if you give somebody a weapon, and they take it, their finger automatically goes on the trigger.
Like a magnet.
Like a magnet. It's just like, it's right on the trigger. Okay, that's not good. That's wrong. That's being unconscious. When we're handling firearms and weapons, we have to be conscious that I don't put my finger on the trigger till I have made a decision that I have to shoot. I have to use this weapon. But until I make that decision in my mind clearly, I won't put my finger on the trigger. If you look at all of the law enforcement, military, professional shooters, they keep their finger off the trigger until they're ready to shoot. And that's a built-in safety component that will help you be safe around other people and around yourself. Because people have a gun in their hand and go, pow! Oh, you see it on YouTube all the time. People shooting themselves because they didn't keep their finger off the trigger. All right? So rule number 3, keep your finger off the trigger till you're ready to shoot. All right? Everybody, got your weapon again? Point. Point your weapon. Rule number 4, know your target and what's beyond it. All right, let's say it together. Rule number 4, know your target and what's beyond it. One more time. Rule number 4, know your target and what's beyond it. Boom. So, your target. Your target is anything that you're going to shoot at, all right? But you have to know, and you have to be conscious or aware of what's beyond that target, okay? That it may be a situation where somebody kicks in my door, right? And I grab my weapon. I come in the hallway and I look down the hallway and I see a guy with a weapon. He's got a machete or he's got a shotgun or whatever. Am I going to shoot that guy? Am I going to shoot him?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I'm going to shoot him. He kicked in my door. He has a weapon. He's threatening my life and my loved one's life. Yeah, he's going to get shot. But here's the thing. At the end of the hallway is a room where my grandchildren are. I got to take the shot. But I have to be aware that they're in that room. If that round went through and continued down the hallway, it could be a problem. So in that case, maybe I have to shoot him in what we call a pelvic girdle. Shoot him down here. Shoot him in a downward angle so that I'll drop him, but the bullet wouldn't continue down the hallway. Something like that. Every situation is different. Every situation means that when you fire that weapon, when you fire that round comes out of that muzzle, your name on it. Your name is on that round until it stops. So if you had a legitimate reason to draw your weapon, you have your credentials you can carry, you're in a life-threatening situation, you shoot that individual who's trying to attack you, threatening your life, but the bullet goes through and through, continues down, goes 2 blocks down the street, somebody's walking in the park, boom. Who's responsible? You are. You always have to be aware of your target and what's beyond it. Whether it's up, down, left, or right of it, you want to have that kind of insight, that kind of awareness that I'm not just in a bubble here. If I shoot something or someone, I have to know that it's safe for me to do that, or do it in a way that's most appropriate for that particular situation. All right? So now, we're going to go back over these 4 rules. Everybody here?
Okay.
All right?
Cut.
Cut.
Perfect.
All right?
What I want to do is get us saying